we interrupt this program to bring you this message. Now, back to our program.
Another day, another EUC suspension wheel tested. What's up to my unicycle fam? This is V coming at you to bring you guys along as I get to test out one of Begode's laundry list of suspension wheels, the Hero. But before I dive into it, I'd like to give FreeMotion a shout out for allowing me the opportunity to take this Zero and turn it into the Hero. If ever you guys, and of course you gals, are in the market for an EUC or e-scooter, take a look-see-loo at what FreeMotion can do for you. Now, without further ado, let's get into this review. It is said that first impressions die slowly, no pun intended, and bad impressions take even longer. Either my internal expectation of Begode has yet to plateau, or the Begode Hero is just that wheel you can't seem to get enough of. Or better yet, I've resigned myself to the fact that Begode is synonymous to that of a box of chocolate. You never know what you might get. But one thing for certain and two things for sure. I was not expecting to kick off this review with a wheel that was DOA.
This is out the box, but you're supposed to be able to, the lift handle, if I do it one hand, bring the lift handle to the first slot. That's to disengage the wheel and press this button, but the wheel should turn on, period. But when I press it one time, no, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, no. And then, of course, to hit the on-off button again. That's how you unlock this particular wheel, but this wheel is not even responding. And then to plug in the charger. Let me see if I can get some leverage here. Okay, it's plugged in. And there's the light. I don't know if this is considered the 0-volt Hero that people are talking about. But yeah, that one did not turn on. Alright, this is the current setup or situation with the Hero. As you guys know, at this point, it came 2 months or 2.5 months ago, dead on arrival. I'm trying to jumpstart the batteries using a fast charger. I didn't want to use a fast charger, but it started at 29 volts, now it's up to 65 volts. The stock charger, for whatever reason, refused to jumpstart the batteries, so I had to resort to using the eWheels fast charger. So hopefully, with fingers crossed, this will work.
Although I'm not off to a good start, after resurrecting this C38 high-torque Hero, I found that its redeeming qualities made this wheel a joy to ride. And although to label this wheel a top contender of the suspension realm is kind of ludicrous because there are so many variables that can impact how an EUC performs for a specific rider, not to mention specific terrain. While every EUC and rider has a characteristic of their own, the vast selection of wheels currently on the market surely has something for everyone. But the question on most people's minds, and the reason why you're here, or not, is to find out if the Hero is a right fit for you. The overall design of the Hero consists of an aluminum frame encased in a boomerang-type plastic edging held in place by 5 T25 hex screws. Its top is a plastic dome which snaps in place, and although its minimalistic design makes for a slim thick wheel, it comes in weighing at 82 pounds. The seat, which makes up part of the dome, is by far the worst stock seat I've experienced. It's made of hard plastic, which makes for a not so comfortable ride for any considerable amount of time. And because it's made of plastic, constant adjustments to your seated position will be had. In true Begode's fashion, they outfitted the Hero with a generic air shock chamber void of a dampening dial like the one shown here on the Master. To add insult to injury, they chose not to bother with testing the chamber to gauge the proper PSI, thus leaving the guesswork up to us riders to figure out on our own, which stands to reason why there are so many distributors recommending different PSI levels for this wheel. Upon querying Begode for the recommended PSI, I was advised to be guided by the PSI for the EX20S. Truth be told, their response was a stab in the dark. According to their recommendation, a person within my weight category is directed to pressurize the air shock chamber to 240 psi, which at this pressure, the wheel's recoil response was rigid and lacked enough bounce back from bouncing off curbs that my knees paid for it once it was said and done. After much trial and error, I did find my sweet spot at 180 psi. So much so, I found myself jumping off various objects I encountered while riding this wheel. A platform, construction material, a foundation wall, and a stage. At no time while jumping off these objects did I bottom out. However, while jumping off the stage, the impact caused the lift sensor to pop up. Unaware that it did, once I stopped, the wheel caught me by surprise by going limp. This incident is not isolated, with other riders reporting the same, so a word of caution: be mindful of the trolley handle's inability to stay in the closed position when not only jumping this wheel, but riding it as well. When riders hear of suspension wheels, the first thing that comes to mind for some are their ability to absorb impacts from jumping. But truth be told, suspension wheels are not designed for jumping, but cushioning the impact a rider gets from traveling over imperfections in the road. In a mock demonstration, I traveled over several divots and was quite pleased at the stock shock ability to cushion the impact away from my knees. Now, this is not to say that the stock shock can handle all types of imperfections in the road, but the few I encountered, it handled them to my expectation. While conducting a range test on the Hero, I was able to amass a total of 114 miles with my average speed at 30 miles per hour and my average riding speed at 34 miles per hour. And because torque wheels aren't known for their speed, it is no surprise the Hero tops out in the low 40s. I was able to reach 37 miles per hour on a full charge before hitting the first warning beep. Although not an off-roader by no stretch of the imagination, I found that off-road CST tire on the Hero has its place. While scouting for hills to ride up, unbeknownst to me, I encountered a saturated muddy patch of road the Hero had no issues plowing through. As you can see, the tire soaked up the brunt of the messy road, sparing my shoes, pant legs, and the wheel itself from a muddy mess. Heck, even the mudguard to the mudguard was spared. Now, as far as the hill climbing capability of the Hero, I found two average-sized hills a rider might encounter with a gradual grading of 32 and 38 degrees respectively. During my ascent of both hills, the wheel chugged along without a problem. At this stage in the game, I can no longer say I'm impressed anymore with these high torque wheels' climbing capabilities. Barring any extreme hill climbs, these wheels perform on par to the manufacturer's spec. Imagine that. Because this tire is designed for off-road and extremely knobby, there is a slight learning curve when first attempting to ride this wheel in the streets, especially when turning. Some riders have reported the wheel felt like it wanted to go in the opposite direction of where they wanted to go when turning, which threw them for a loop. I found as long as your hips are stable and your weight distributed in the direction of a turn, the wheel follows without a struggle. Overall, the Hero is an encouraging EUC that seems to hit its benchmark in terms of performance. Neither the lightest nor the heaviest EUC at 82 pounds. Its minimalistic, solid construction not only set this wheel apart from its counterparts, but make this wheel capable of being thrown around as if it's a featherweight, making the ride all the more fun. Where it lacks in speed, it makes up for in range. And although there's little information from Begode on the specs of its newfangled shock, it does perform as well as one could hope. With that being said, we've come to that part of the video wherein you guys know what time it is. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment, good, bad, or indifferent. So until next time, guys, deuces.